Hi and welcome to a new tutorial. In this video I will be fixing an old fake leather waist belt to have a corset boning. I haven't worn this much since it's really boxy and loses all of my waist definition. In addition, it's a little bit too loose on me, so I have to take it in a little bit from the sides. So here I start by taking it in from both sides. I pin the elastic so that it goes in more at the middle, so that will also help to get the more hourglass figure. Here you can see better what I meant by taking in more from the middle. The elastic is just folded and there is no cutting needed. Then I backstitch the fold I made in a straight line. You can also do this by machine if you own one. And here's the finished seam. I tried to go quite close to the fake leather, but in the end it doesn't matter as this will be covered by the boning channels. Then I just need to finish the other seam. And here they are both done and we can proceed with the next step. I have this fake leather belt I got with some jacket. Since I'm not using it, I salvage the boning channels from this fabric. I roughly eyeball the correct length and cut it. I plan to keep the side seams as a design element, so I only cut it in half. Make sure your pieces are longer than the width of the belt, so you can tuck the ends underneath. I will be using zip ties as my boning and use 2 of them on each side. So I need to stitch 4 rows to hold the bones in place. I make my edges neat by folding the boning channel sides under as shown here. Then I carefully pin it close to where I'm going to stitch, since fake leather doesn't recover from punctured holes. Now I can stitch this to the elastic band. First seam is done, now the second. Make sure your boning fits in. Here you can see my second channel with the bone inside. And here the channels are all finished up. Now you need to fold under the ends. I already folded this one, but you basically can just pin it down and stitch it. Only do one end since your boning still needs to go in before you do the other end. Now to the boning. I cut my zip ties to the correct length. Then the ends need to be rounded so they don't break the boning channels. I first cut the corners. And then I file them smooth. Sandpaper also works for this. All done and ready for the next step. The bones need to be bent into shape. I boil some water for this, since my bones are from plastic and can be molded with heat. Then I pour the boiling water on the bones and let them soak for a couple of minutes. When the water is barely touchable, I fish my bones out and move them to cool in my very high-tech cooling rack, which is a roll of tape. When the bones are cooled, you should have a nice curved shape. Now I can insert the boning into the channels. At this point you should have closed the other end of the channels. Here you can see the nicely curved boning. Insert it so that the curve is according to the curve of your waist, otherwise you won't get that hourglass shape. Your boning should fit snugly in the channels. As you can see, it still holds its curved shape. Now it's time to close the other end of the boning channels, and then it's done. Here's my finished product. As you can see, it's much more curved now and actually goes in at the waist. I admit my stitching was not the neatest at some places, but I'm glad this works as intended. I'll also insert a little before and after compilation so you can clearly see the improvement. Hope you enjoyed the video, don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you next week.